Yo and hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Fly with Mike. That's Ty. And Ty, the first question I have to ask you today on the show is, what did you get me for our anniversary?
I sent you a bouquet of flowers. You should be receiving it today.
Okay.
You seem like a flower guy.
As long as they're just beautiful roses from
You can just give them to Julie. Re-gift them immediately.
Thank you. That'll get me some points. For those of you who don't know, tomorrow actually marks the 1-year anniversary of us starting this crazy idea of On the Fly with Mike and Ty. So you guys have been amazingly supportive of this little thing that Ty and I do mostly weekly, and we appreciate the support.
That is crazy to think about. I mean, it feels like a few months ago we were like, how about this weekly show where we talk about just random topics where we don't prepare? We literally go on the fly, and you're like, how about On the Fly with Mike and Ty? And it just seemed so perfect. And here we are a year later. It's fun to do this every week with you, man.
No doubt. It's been great.
We have some good topics to talk about today.
Yeah, we have some good stuff today.
Can I dangle a carrot real quick?
Yeah.
So we're going to get into a topic that you got triggered by in a comment. And then you sent me the comment and I got triggered by it as well. And this idea that it doesn't take any skill to be in this hobby. And so we're going to address that here in a little bit, but let's talk about some other stuff first.
Okay. Other stuff first.
Industry Summit going on this week. Do you care?
No. I mean, I'll be interested to see what comes out of it, but I'm not, hanging on Twitter or, any news channel, so to speak, to find out if anything happens. You?
I'll be interested to see if any big news comes out. In fact, we have some guys at the show that might text us during this conversation, so we might bring it up. But shout out to Sports Card Radio. I've been kind of hooked on his like breaking news, kind of like I'm gonna hate on everybody content. It's been kind of funny lately. He refers to the Industry Summit as the get together of $40,000 a year, experts in the hobby, where we're all supposed to like listen to what these middle management people say in the hobby. And it's not far from the truth. It's pretty funny how everyone gets all excited about this gathering of experts.
We talked about it a lot on our Saturday episode of Hobby Hotline, which debuted here on Bench Clear, and
huge success.
Catch that weekly on Saturdays, but nobody cared. Everybody's like, we talked about it for half the show, and we had a lot of opinions. Danny is there. Danny Black, who was on the show, is there in Vegas to go to it, and John Newman and I, and it was like nobody in the chat really was caring too much, because it's just it's barely a business. It's an industry summit, right? We need to have a collector summit. That's what I want to start. Is it? Oh, that's called the National.
I was going to say that exists.
That's also called the National.
Yeah.
But we talked about it a lot, and it was very
Fair enough. Yeah. So anyway, that's going on today. That we'll see. You would suspect that the Panini Fanatics news gets released here soon. I mean, you're already starting to see things pop up in Google searches where, Panini and Fanatics logos are kind of intertwined. It's happening. So I expect to see that soon.
I had heard it was happening yesterday, and then it didn't happen yesterday. So yeah. Oh, well, it will happen. No question.
Yeah, it's happening.
Why wait to announce it? What do you think they're waiting on? What needs to happen to make this announcement?
Well, maybe they were waiting for the summit. That could have been it. It could have been the natural spot for it. You want it to be formally released where you can have Q&A from people in the hobby. Maybe they just wanted to have a platform to do that. I don't know. But it's not like they've released a bunch of information about Topps either. They got acquired and we've heard nothing. It's been crickets. So I don't think there's really anything they need to they don't need a platform to announce this. Just tell us you've acquired Panini. Move on.
It could be something legal, but that, finalizing some things or whatever. But
yeah,
me, I just don't think they care about telling us anything. I just don't think they feel the need to communicate with us, the public. we're going to do what we're going to do and take it or leave it. I don't like that.
Yeah, I am very surprised that it's been complete crickets. It's almost like they don't care.
Almost.
Speaking of crickets, there's that dead silence that everybody loves.
Well, it's because we both know that they really don't care about us.
Right.
This is truth.
Truth. How do you like these stickers?
I love fun. I got mine are not hollow foil, so you must have the
I got the parallels.
I've got just the regular. I've been putting these into packages. As we've been selling off cards from the Chasing Cardboard horde of cards.
Speaking of, can we share a little bit about this collection that we have right now?
Sure.
So do you want to give a little, I mean, we've already talked a little bit about this episode coming up. It'll be episode 12. So it's probably 3 or 4 weeks away from releasing and Chasing Cardboard, but we've already started to sell a lot of the cards from a particular consignment that you're going to see in an episode. An outstanding vintage collection. Outstanding.
Yeah, 4,000 to 5,000 cards total.
Yep.
This was a local collection to me here. So Ty was here already. We were doing some other stuff and we went and saw it and it was great. And we sent off a bunch of the cards to SGC. They're already back. I mean, this is all within just a few weeks. So this is all turning pretty quickly. I've done some deals with people. We've mentioned it and people have reached out and I've gotten a bunch of that out. All the vintage here is gone, just so everybody knows. It's gone ski. So
here as in at your house.
Correct. It's not at my house anymore. So
but
go over what's here, what they're looking at right now.
Yeah. So this is stuff that we just got back from SGC. There was 70 cards that we selected to be graded in SGC tuxedos. So over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, there's 10-day auctions. So each one of these will be a 10-day auction. You can already see some outstanding cards here. We're starting each one at $2 and it's 10-day, some very nice grades. You're going to see the next 3 or 4 days, these hitting. I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner. You can click, or in the show notes, it'll take you right to this spot, on my eBay page. If you mention Bench Clear, if you win any of these, we'll give you free priority shipping for any of your orders. So just be sure to put that in the comments. But there's some really good stuff coming from an upcoming episode. And if you want some good vintage that we helped grade, keep an eye out here. Follow the store. PSA stuff that you submitted will be back in, I don't know, who knows, 2 months, 3 months, but we'll keep you.
2 different orders that have gone off to PSA. One batch at the beginning that was a no-brainer stuff, and then another batch of stuff that we decided to go ahead and send to PSA as well. So there's, I think, 50-ish cards total at PSA currently.
Yeah. Well, so keep an eye on this category here because there's a lot of raw stuff that we didn't, I mean, hundreds of raw cards we did not grade that we'll list in here as well. And we'll give you free shipping and all that good stuff. So I'm excited, man. This is a really fun episode and it's a really fun order.
And a great story. You know, again,
it's a great story.
We love the stories. Are we allowed to talk about what we got coming up? I don't know how much you want to let that leak, but
Chasing Cardboard?
Yeah.
No, let's leave that. We have some. Let's wait.
It's big.
It's big. It's the biggest one. We keep saying that, right? We have the biggest wax. We have the biggest deal. We have the biggest consignment. And all of a sudden we get this next one. We're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is once in a lifetime stuff. And we're going to have in episodes 13, 14, 15-ish. So just prepare yourself. Thank you for following us over there on Chasing Cardboard.
Yeah. We'll be traveling for that one, aren't we?
Yeah. Does Judge hit the home run this week? The home run?
Well, he's got 4 more games against the Rangers, by the way, which is great. I'm going tomorrow to the 1:00 game. They're playing a doubleheader tomorrow, day-night doubleheader. Tonight, 2 games tomorrow, and then Wednesday, and that's the end of the season. So he's got 4 games. Yes, I think he hits it. I don't know that he gets – who knows? The Rangers pitching may really help him out because we're terrible. He may get some – he may hit 10 this week. I don't know, against the Rangers, but I think he ends up with 63-ish, maybe he hits 2 in the series, something like that. But I don't want him to hit one tonight. Is that wrong? I want him to hit one tomorrow during the game that I'm at.
Well, I don't think that's wrong to hope that, but 4 games is each game that he doesn't hit one. Pressure. It's a little more tense, right?
Yeah.
Every pitch is going to become captivating. I don't think he hits it.
So if he ends up at 61, Ohtani wins MVP. Agree?
Here we go. More hate coming. I think Ohtani wins MVP if he doesn't hit another home run. Yep.
I do not. I think Judge still wins it.
Okay, even fair enough.
61. But again, neither one of us have a vote. So
yeah,
we'll find out.
I hope Judge hits it. I really do. I'm rooting for him to do it. I want his name to be up there. I think he's one of those guys you just want to root for. So,
and it's good for baseball. It's good for the sport. I'd love to see. I mean, Pujols has hit 700 home runs. He's at 702.
702, yeah.
Don't forget, if he gets one more RBI, he is second all time in RBIs for his career. That is insane.
Insane.
Like, I don't think people understand the gravity of that statistic. That is longevity and excellence for a long time, right? I mean, you got to be around forever, and you don't get to that level of RBIs being a slouch. It's beyond impressive. It is absolutely unbelievable. So 2 big things to be watching out for this week is,
well, he's going to get that RBI. There's no question about that. Right.
Yeah.
Plenty of games left this week, and he's got playoffs as well. So,
well, the playoff numbers don't count, but
for all-time RBI, they don't.
No.
So they strip all those out for all the stats.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that for the all-time numbers.
Yeah, totally separate. The regular season only is what those all count for. So,
okay, that's good. That's good info.
He's got 4 more games, just like everybody else, or whatever, 3 or 4 more games. I don't know what the Cardinals have left on their calendar, but playoffs are coming. The playoff field is pretty much set. There's 1 spot left in the NL, but the Phillies would have to just suck for a week or 4 days to not win that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
not happening. Exciting. Good time in sports, man. NBA preseason, which I love. I love the just the buildup of the NBA season. It just is getting exciting, and obviously football's crazy. I saw a crazy stat last night during the Chiefs-Bucks game, which, by the way, Chiefs look outstanding. That if Patrick Mahomes wanted to break Brady's yardage record, he would have to do what he's done so far in his career, which is average 301 yards passing per game, until he's age 39. And then he'll overtake Brady for yardage. That's assuming Brady doesn't 30 more yards, which he's going to do.
So you're saying there's a chance.
When you think about it, like in terms of like, okay, that's 15 more years. You're thinking like, that's 2035.
2037. Yeah.
2037. Like, it's just stupid how crazy far out that is.
Yeah. And Cowboys 3-0 under Cooper Rush. Don't get too excited. I mean, we've got Rams and Eagles next 2 games, so that's going to be very telling. And apparently Dak's going to be back, if not this week, for sure for the Eagles game. And then I just got to say, shout out to Mizzou for almost pulling out the upset of Georgia. I was really rooting for Mizzou because I always like to see the teams that always win. I'm like, let's give some other teams some love. And that happened for my team this weekend. TCU
crushed Oklahoma. That OU was awesome.
And OU is probably not the normal OU. I'll be fair in that, but at the same time, it's a amazing program. OU's just got this historic program type of thing, multiple national championships, yada yada. And if you look at the Big 12 standings right now, it's hilarious because it's Kansas is number 1. You're like, what? KU, K-State, TCU, top 3 teams, and Oklahoma State. You're like, that should be like it's completely backwards from normal. And I love seeing chaos in college football. It's so much fun.
Well, there's plenty of it. The next 6 weeks are going to be absolutely chaotic.
Love it. So much fun to follow and track. It's great.
Whatever. Okay.
Whatever.
Oh, I was going to show a comment here because I think we need to see this comment. I tell you what, let me flip over here. Let's do this. I didn't mean whatever, and like it doesn't matter. I meant
sure
like
that way, Ty.
Let me step back here. I agree. I think the chaos is really good, and I'm so glad that TCU beat Oklahoma, and I'm really glad that KU is doing so well.
Insert sarcasm here. Golly.
Okay.
The comment is going to be good when we get, because this is our main topic for today. After all the other, how many minutes are we in? 15, 16?
Yeah, here you go. Okay, I'm getting annoyed. Keep talking. So what video is this from? And then I'm going to switch over and we're going to show this.
This is from, I did a video on Baseball Collector. There's always somebody with a bigger boat, just talking about the hobby in general being, it's always a one-upsmanship and all of this kind of stuff, and not to get too caught up in all of that. But I had this comment on there, and I don't know, I triggered, you used the word triggered, and I was pretty nice in my, I even said this may have to turn into a video topic for me.
Here we are.
Brent Dye, got to give him credit for the comment, whether you agree with him or not. Our hobby requires very little skill, he says. It primarily requires money. Someone just entering the hobby who has deep pockets can spend enough money and have a collection greater, i.e., higher grades, more cards than others that have collected for 40 years. It doesn't take much skill in handing over X dollars for a PSA 9 or 10. It takes money. This is very different than hobbies such as gardening. I've always compared sports cards and gardening. That's
makes perfect sense.
A very apropos.
Guitar playing, fishing, photography. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Those are all, very similar to sports cards, which require time, skill, experience, training, education, etc. It's obviously the journey and not the destination, which is rewarding. Would collecting even be fun if you were a billionaire and could buy every card ever made in the highest known grade? Not for me, at least. Having to save up and sacrifice makes that eventual purchase in addition to the collection so much fulfilling and rewarding. Be thankful for the collection you have, not envious of the one you don't. So it's weird. It's like almost two different comments, right? The last part, I think most of us would agree with, that making sacrifices and purchasing cards that you want to add to your collection is fulfilling and it is rewarding. We should be thankful for the collections we have and not envious of the ones we don't. So those are all things that I think Brent is spot on point.
Yep.
It's the first part that I really like. Now, wait a tick. What was your initial thought when you read that?
Well, my initial thought was I disagree completely. I think that is very disingenuous to the people who have spent a lifetime acquiring knowledge and have set themselves apart in the hobby. And I think it's important to, like, you have to differentiate collecting versus, running a business in the hobby, because I've run a business in the hobby for years. And if you don't know what you're doing, you will get your butt handed to you day in and day out, because your lack of knowledge will just set you up for total disaster. So from a business standpoint alone, like, that's just a false statement. But from a collecting standpoint, it's like, okay, yeah, well, if you collect what you love, it doesn't really matter anyway, right? You can just collect. But it doesn't mean you're collecting the right things, or collecting things that are going to go up in value, or collecting things that will stand the test of time. That takes knowledge, that takes expertise, that takes relationships, all of those things that just take time to build.
So he makes a point about if you just were a billionaire and could just buy everything you wanted to, and money wasn't an object, which I doubt anyone listening to this show, I don't think, Nat Turner listens to our show. He can buy pretty much whatever he wants and does, right? I mean, he has amazing stuff. But that doesn't mean there isn't any skill involved in that. And so define to me, Ty, what do you think, like, and for everyone out there, what does skill in the hobby look like? Like, if you were to say you have really good skill at that, is it, product knowledge? Is it, what years are valuable, what years are rare?
I think this triggers something in me because this is the mindset that the hobby has fallen into the last 2 years, where you can just flip on a talking head on YouTube and they can tell you what to buy and it will be successful as long as you have money. And I put a video out, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago on chasing cardboard, a little report card. And I talked about the right investment in the hobby is investing in yourself. Because if you understand what cards mean the most, what sets have, have short prints, what parallels do well, how to grade cards the right way, how to sell and market cards the right way, that will do 10,000 times more for you than listening to someone tell you what to buy, what to sell. Like that when I think of skills, I think of all those things that you just have to like sit down and learn and read and like take notes on. You just can't flip a switch and know it.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to be I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here and have a good discussion. But is it just semantics? What's the difference between a skill then and just experience, which you can't buy experience? That just comes from time and making mistakes and learning from them and all those things. What do you think is it just semantics, skills versus experience? Because I think what you're describing is experience, maybe not skill necessarily. But you learn it, right? A skill is something you learn, and you learn what to do, what not to do. Playing a guitar, you mentioned guitar playing. It's skill. You're going to practice and learn. Don't play that note, play this note, or here's how you play this chord. Here's how you grade these cards. Here's what you send in. Here's how you time your auction so you're successful if you're selling. Here's what you're looking for as a collector like me. I have learned things on when to be, like Sunday night's a great night to go. If you're wanting to find cards, Sunday night's a great night because if the sellers are smart, they're ending their stuff on Sunday night. So, but you want to be able to look at auctions that are ending at weird times and setting up snipes, and all these things are skills that you learn and acquire through experience and time and mistakes. So again, maybe it is semantics. Maybe I'm talking myself.
Well, no, I mean, you just answered your own question, and I completely agree with you. Like yes, it's probably easier to write those off as just those are things anybody could do, but anybody could learn to play the guitar too, right? I mean, those skills that you acquire, that they just take experience. Like it takes experience to acquire the skills, I think, and I think understanding when to buy and sell, how to title things, how to ship things, how to snipe things, how to go to card shows and like talk to dealers. Those are skills.
How to negotiate card price. Yeah.
I mean, like you and I couldn't stand in front of a camera and do chasing cardboard if we didn't have skills that we had acquired from the past 20 years of doing this. End of story. Right. It doesn't matter how much money we have. We would not have had the skills to like keep people engaged in the hobby with that stuff. Like that just takes time. It takes the ability to like learn and consume information and acquire a skill in the hobby.
It's funny. When I go to shows, like let's say the National, I'll have guys hanging out with me and we're just walking around, and multiple times I have a guy, I'll buy a card and we'll walk away and they'll be like, how did you do that? And I mean, I'm like, what are you talking about? And they go, how did you get that card for that price?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's just, I've learned how to negotiate over time and what things are important to a dealer to try to soften the discussion, not to pull one over on them or lie or any of that stuff, but you can learn people skills, interpersonal skills that allow you to make conversations flow easier and make it not feel like you're being a jerk or, that just takes time and experience. Right. So that's totally a skill.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn that. I wasn't good at it at first. I've gotten better at it. I've practiced it. I've, just honed my skill, right, over decades of being in this hobby and making thousands and thousands of negotiations for individual cards. Client, I mean, people are like, "How teach me that?" I'm like, I can't. I don't know. You just got to kind of do it because everybody's different. Not
Yeah.
everybody has the personality for it.
Yeah. You have to be able to fail many times over so that you can become skillful at that. John Mangini has done a good job of kind of breaking down some of the fluff in the hobby the last few months. And he's very articulate in the way he kind of explains the skills that you need to be successful in this hobby. And so I highly recommend going and checking out his videos. Shout out to him. He does a good job. But his points are basically what we're saying. It's like, if you want to be successful, you can't just go expect to listen to somebody who just entered the hobby 18 months ago and think that they've acquired some sort of skills that apply to the hobby. It's like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter how much money you bring to go buy something. And we know who we're talking about here, right? There's lots of these guys that brought a lot of money into the hobby, and 18 months later, they're all going, "Oh crap. I wish I had 20 years of experience. I wish I would have seen how this worked the last 2 decades," because those skills, they just take a lot of time to build, and they didn't have it. And so a lot of people got burned because money did not buy success in the hobby. It just didn't.
Well, it did for a while, and then it showed again, like all things, as those worms turn.
Is that a Texas term? As those worms turn?
You've never heard as the worm turns, the worm turns? Oh, well. I've been throwing out a lot the last few weeks. Short and curlies last week, and
I did not hear short and curlies. I would have called you out on that.
I did. They said Fanatics has us by the short and curlies last week. I said, but where was I going with that? I got distracted by my very bad worm turn. But it, ebbs and flows of the hobby, right? Those of us that have been doing this a long time went, this isn't going to last. We said it multiple times here as this was happening. Like, wow, this is really cool and really amazing, but don't expect it to be the new, normal forever. So, and nobody likes to hear that because, oh, you're being negative. You're being that. No, we just got some skills with a Z. We got skills.
You're so in tune with the culture.
Yeah, I'm right with it. So yeah, it's not that what Brent said. It's his. He had his opinion. He threw it out there. As a guy, I wish I had all the money in the world, but
that's no fun. So let me ask you this, and this is probably more of a question for the people watching. But what would you consider the most important skills to have in the hobby? Because I often think about that, because it's like when people come to me and they say, "Hey, I'm just getting started in the hobby. I want to open a card shop, or I want to, do what you're doing and resell cards, or whatever it may be," right? How do I get started? What would you recommend them to focus on the most to kind of accelerate their expertise in the hobby?
Again, as my perspective, would love to hear people's comments. I agree with Ty. I think that'd be great. But as a collector, and the way I think about the hobby, go learn what different sets are. What are key cards in that set? What's rare? What's not rare? A guy can put it on a sticker at a show and super rare. That doesn't mean it really is, just because this guy or girl says so. So make sure you're doing your own homework, do your own research, learn about the stuff. And that's a huge skill. I was going to say patience too. I don't know that that's necessarily a skill as much as it might just be a personality quality or just wisdom and experience. Just be patient. You don't have to buy everything today. As a collector, we all want it all today. And yet, again, that one thing Brent said, the journey is pretty fun. It is pretty great acquiring slowly and building a collection, building a great collection, right? Doesn't happen overnight. And you don't have to have a lot of money to do that either. Like, you can be patient and save up and all those things, and you can build a great collection if you put the time into it. What would you say is the biggest skill that, from your perspective as a seller?
A few come to mind. I mean, I think like as a seller, it's important. I think to understand what the successful people do. So I always first thing I recommend to people is like go find the 5 sellers that you think are the you buy cards from or you see all the time on eBay or somebody or somewhere else, and just like watch how they list cards, watch when they time things out, watch how they title it, watch how they take pictures, and you'll realize pretty quickly what works and what the collector world like expects, because those people don't, especially in the eBay world, you will not be successful unless you do things right over and over and over again. So I would just recommend doing that. But I think seasonality of sports cards is important. People don't understand the seasonality of sports cards. It's a big deal. That affects pricing and opportunities, probably more so than anything else. Obviously, release dates and all that stuff matter, but seasonality is a big deal. If you want to look for like arbitrage and opportunities, you just got to learn like when to buy sports, what months are not good, what months are good, and that'll immediately change your ability to do well and make better purchases and sell things better. There's a long list of things.
Yeah. Would love to hear what you guys think out there. Yeah. Is Brent right, or is he a little bit off there? I do think there's tremendous skill to be in this hobby, and personality. You know, again, semantics, but it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You can't just have all the money in the world and have a great collection and do it right.
What happens if you don't have skill?
You make more mistakes, potentially more expensive mistakes, and it becomes no fun. If you I've bought plenty of stuff before that I've been disappointed was either fake or altered or whatever, and I've just learned from those things. None of them are fun. I'd rather not do that ever again. But every time I think I've done this long enough and I won't screw up again, I'll screw up. Luckily, they just haven't been super expensive mistakes. So,
yeah, I will say this to use Brent's analogy. If I had all the money in the world, I could go buy every Taylor or Gibson guitar ever made, and they could sit on my shelf. It doesn't mean that I know how to play them, right? You could do the same thing with sports cards. I could buy every sports card in the world and have them all, but that doesn't mean that I know what to do with them. And if you're just collecting them, they're sitting on your shelf, you can do the same thing with a guitar. You could do the same thing with garden seeds for all I care, right? It's gardening. But to actually do something with them productive and to do it strategically, it takes.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
All right, I'm done.
I see that. Are we done for this episode? What do you have coming up? Anything?
I don't know. What's that?
You're too busy.
Yeah, I'm trying to get an industry summit interview scheduled to put on Bench Clear this week to get us kind of a debrief on the show. So I'll try to get that done for all of us that are curious. Speaking of, let me check. Cool. No updates yet. What about you? You already have an episode recorded.
I do. For Golden Age Cardboard, it's going to be. I get a lot of times, what are you looking for? What are you hunting for? And I'm going to be showing the top 10 cards that I'm kind of on the hunt for. They're kind of peak of mind, top of mind as I'm looking around. So
okay,
there's some big cards. So that'll be fun. That'll be on Wednesday. That'll be on Wednesday.
I dig it. All
right.
Well, cool, man. Have yourself a good week.
You too. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.